What?
Subscribe.
We'll highlight all that. Don't you worry.
Just
But
saying, you gotta remind people.
Subscribe right now.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Of course.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Ethan, are you religious?
A little bit.
Okay, so you guys know that the Pope's died.
Mm-hmm. I'm not Catholic.
All right. Well, rest in peace to Pope Francis. Pour one out. There are only two people who on this earth stand closest to God, and it still is, whoever the Pope is, and Lou Holtz when he coached at Notre Dame. But I found this out. There have been a lot of things going on with the Pope. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the process of choosing a new Pope. I remember there was when I was a freshman in high school. Now, I went to an all-boys private school, Catholic school, so I was very involved in the idea of, hey, we're gonna choose a new Pope, and literally talked about it in our world history class. Someone posted the step-by-step that the Catholic Church takes on after the death of a Pope. There is a person at the Vatican who is specifically in charge of determining the death of the Pope. His name is the Carmelengo. He's known as the Chamberlain of the Holy Roman Church. He calls the Pope's baptismal name 3 times. If there is no response, he declares the Pope dead. Every single Pope has a ring. He destroys the ring in order to determine that his authority is over, because it is a symbol that you are the Pope, and they want to avoid any misuses and make sure that someone doesn't steal the ring and therefore takes on the role of the Pope. Apparently that's like a thing.
Are these rings like a Horcrux for the Pope?
Basically, it's called the Fisherman's Ring. It's basically it's basically the Horcrux of the Pope. It's horrible that I'm saying that as a practicing Catholic. They then officially announce the Pope. There's then a 9-day mourning period. They bury them. And then, of course, now we are at the point, well, not now, it's going to happen in 9 days, but we go into conclave. And KFC Barstool did a great rendition of all this stuff. Now, naturally, I'm not a betting man. I actually am. What's the first thing you do when you find out at 8:30 in the morning that a Pope is dead? You go to the European sports books, who are already ahead of you and know this has been happening, who wrote articles at 3 a.m. local time to tell me, hey, these are the odds-on favorites to become the next Pope. I will read these off to you now.
Are these from France Duel?
Actually, so the article that I'm pulling this from actually comes from Newsweek. Yeah, from Newsweek. Could also have found this from the Independent, not from Trent Krim, but from the Independent. As of right now, the odds-on front runner, currently the betting favorite at 3-1 odds. Cardinal Luis Antonio. What's the last name? Of course, there's an ad right in my face as I'm trying to read this. That's annoying. Where are you? Here we go. Luis Antonio Tagle. He's 67 years old, from the Philippines. He's an advocate for inclusion and evangelization, and he has experience leading the congregation for the evangelization of peoples, and was a trusted figure in Francis's inner circle. There's also Pietro Parolin, who's at 4-1 odds currently. These are odds for a horse race: 3-1, 4-1, 5.5-1. He's 70 years old. He's one of the most experienced Vatican officials. He's the Vatican Secretary of State since 2013. Now, that basically makes him second in line. But apparently, the Secretary of State of the Vatican has only been elected Pope once in the last 200 years. So do not expect him to necessarily get the nod. At 5-1, we have the opportunity to introduce the Obama of popes, Peter Turkson from Ghana. The possibility of having our first black pope, which would be absolutely awesome. He's the former head of the Dicastery for Performing Integral Human Development, whatever the fuck that means. And then, of course, we have Peter Erdo, who, at 6-1 right now, he is Hungarian, and he has been known as the super right-wing conservative Pope option, which is the exact opposite of what Francis is. And then, of course, this is KB's favorite, Angelo Scola, who's 82 years old. He's the guy who should have won the papacy when Benedict retired, and was literally given emails congratulating him when they announced the Pope, because everyone was convinced this is the guy. He is running again, and he has a chance to become the Henry Clay of papal inaugurations. For those of you who don't know who Henry Clay is, he ran for president, I think, like 5 times and never got it. This is like back like pre-Civil War. So he's at 8-1. Those are currently the odds-on favorites. There's another guy from Ghana who, sorry, not from Ghana. What's his name? He's from the Congo.
How have they not destroyed this guy's pre-Pope ring?
The other guy who is he's the dark horse. He's from the Congo. Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo Bisungu. How amazing would it be to have Ambongo from the Congo being your new pope? That would be such a great play on words. So yeah, those. So I was very interested in figuring out who the Pope odds are, and I tried to find a way to bet on it. However, I settled for the Nick Castellanos home run today. Because how can you not bet Nick Castellanos in times of tragedy?
And speaking of the Pope and the switching over of power, obviously John Cena wins at WrestleMania last night. It just popped across my timeline, though. Randy Orton has RKO'd John Cena at the Raw after Mania.
Good. Needs to happen. I didn't watch a second of it, but I heard it was shit.
The Randy Orton internet montage videos of Internet 1.0 are some of the greatest things ever, where it's just Randy Orton like just randomly inserted into a moment in history, and it's just the commentary being like, and Randy Orton slithering down the aisle, RKO! Watch out! Like the dudes that are like trying to grind down like a staircase, like on the
horrible. Oh my god! Yeah, so no, good. Just completely like out of pocket. Yeah, no, I heard the John Cena like heel turn was like very underwhelming. I feel bad for the people that have to deal with it. So again, I'm not a wrestling guy. I'm a golf guy. But
tune into Underground later this week. Pat Pitts makes his illustrious return to the podcast to break down WrestleMania from Vegas.
This energy. I hope he runs around.
He's so excited.
For Q&A on Pat Pitts, have a good one. I think like we eclipsed the anniversary of that one recently too, right?
I think it's coming up this week, actually.
Oh, incredible!
I think it's April 26th.
That actually amazing. This Saturday we should have like the Awakening. It'll be like the it's like my new favorite meme. It's gonna be like when Jesus got out of the tomb. We're just gonna big reveal the Pat Pitts.
How smoke comes out when a new pope is selected or not a new pope. That's how we announce we have a new content creator at the company. It's just the Pat Pitts video plays on screens everywhere across the tri-state area.
You know what we should do? We should make an edit of that video, and it should be the video of like all the people in the room with the thing like on screen, and when it hits the corner and everyone screams, it's that video, and everyone starts throwing shit everywhere. Oh,
what a character Pat Pitts is.
Patrick Pitts, well, the guy who got me on this program. So I am forever indebted to Pat Pitts for bringing me on. Just absolutely
what a legend! What a legend!
Truly, what an absolute legend for inviting me onto this journey, this illustrious.
The reason you are credentialed with the PGA Tour upcoming is partially because of Pat Pitts.
200 episodes later, like what a ridiculous run.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high-quality clothing from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, I was gonna say it was like when you watch Arthur back in the day because it was on PBS, and it was like, and programming like this is brought to you partially by viewers like you.
Have we acknowledged on the show? I feel like we have. Have we acknowledged on the show that Arthur is the greatest child theme song of all time? And why is it Jamaican?
It's incredible.
Why is it Jamaican?
Like
why is it reggae?
The only thing of like the latter portion of like this era that even like comes close, and it's still not close, is the Bluey theme song.
Yes. Why is it reggae?
I've gone down this rabbit hole a smidge. I haven't taken the deep dive. I genuinely think Arthur is supposed to be Jamaican.
Burning questions.
We need to know. If somebody else, if Mark Brown is out there, the creator of Arthur, can we please have answers?
Was literally going to look it up. Thank you for knowing that offhand. Like this. Flip that. Welcome in, everybody, to Get in the Hole here. KB, Ethan Hogan, myself, Steve McAvoy. Another wonderful week in the world of golf.
You missed a prime opportunity. You could have said a wonderful kind of day.
Damn it! All right, hold on. Play back. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Get in the Hole. KB, Ethan Hogan, Steve McAvoy. What a wonderful kind of day here in the underground on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you can get your favorite shows. Again, once and always presented by some of the best partners in the industry. I want to give a shout out to 47 Brand. I got my packages in from 47 Day. Have my awesome hat that I did the reveal for Masters Watch Party. I should be wearing that now. I'm instead wearing my awesome Reading Royals hat. Shout out to the ECHL affiliate of the Flyers. Kelly Cup, which is like their Stanley Cup. Round 1 today. They're playing the River Lions from Canada. So best of luck to my boys out in Reading. But 47 Brand has just absolutely been killing it. Got my Mets shirt, my New York Golf Club shirt. I'll be debuting that on the show very soon.
You did get that?
I did get that. Actually, I'm gonna grab it in the break and I'll show it off. It looks beautiful. But shout out to 47 Brand. Be sure to check out the link in our description. You can get in on the action with 47.
Pro Shop collection.
Yes. Shop all their awesome collections. Of course, their golf brands, as well as the official spot for all your TGL merch needs. Everything and more at 47 Brand. Link in our description to access. And, of course, with an account, you get free shipping on all orders. So, again, check out the description, the link in our description, and so we can get some awesome 47 gear. We start off our show this week with our shout-outs of the week, and what a really fitting time to present an Acorn Hills ad read here, because I believe it's tomorrow, as we record today on the 21st. It's Earth Day. And what better than to shout out our awesome merch partners at Acorn Hills, who are doing the utmost best in order to make you not only look good, but also feel good and help the environment all at the same time. Of course, Acorn Hills clothing, changing clothing through conservation. For every dollar you put in towards your orders, the National Forest Foundation will plant a seedling to promote afforestation across our nation. And what better way to appreciate Earth Day and appreciate a great brand like Acorn Hills than going to acornhillsco.com and using code GITH15. That's Getting the Hole 15 for 15% off your next order. Again, folks, acornhillsco.com, GITH15 for 15% off your next order. And look your best from the ground up. Shout out to Acorn Hills. Shout out to the awesome work that they are doing, using everything from biodegradable packaging, clothing tags, everything very eco-friendly from such a great brand with some awesome clothes. And you can get in on all the action again, acornhillsco.com. We start off with our first shout out. I want to give a big credit to not only Justin Thomas, but myself for going back-to-back weeks of picking a winner on the PGA Tour. I should say that towards the end of the show, but I need to say this now because last year I think I had one winner the entirety of the year. And how the fuck did I go 2 straight weeks with absolutely burning rubber on tour? And I'm going for a 3rd straight week here at the Zurich. But shout out to Justin Thomas. He gets his first win since 2022. Like, talk about how challenging golf is, right? He won the PGA Championship in 2022. He won it on a Mito Pereira error that he capitalized on, and hasn't had a win in over 1,000 days. And of course, it happens with a different caddy on the bag. Also, I feel for Max Homa because he fired his caddy, and now he just got a win with JT. Even though it's not his full-time caddy is currently sick, and he'll be on the bag once he's healthy. But a huge win at a signature event for Justin Thomas. He became the 7th player ever to record 16-plus PGA Tour wins and have 2 or more majors before the age of 32. He joins Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Arnold Palmer, Rory McIlroy, Tom Watson, and Johnny Miller. So some pretty damn good company for Justin Thomas. Only now 4 wins away from a lifetime pass for PGA Tour, which would be awesome to see him get it. No one deserves it more than him. He's been a great competitor, and I hope that this win is going to fuel further successes. I think Justin Thomas, he has 2 majors, right? 2 PGA championships. And I don't want to say that it is the least valuable of the 4. I think any major is valuable, but it doesn't have the same gravitas as winning the U.S. Open, being the World Golfer of the Year, or winning the Masters, having a green jacket. It's a little bit different. I love Justin Thomas. I think he could win multiple more majors that aren't just the PGA. He's not a one-trick pony. He will win more. I hope he does, and I hope this win fuels that further for him.
Yeah, good for JT. Finally had the opportunity to win, and came through and won. Because we've seen Justin Thomas in these situations over the past couple of years where he's the leader or right there, and then the final day rolls around and it almost looks like he forgets how to play golf. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not trying to dump on the guy, but it's crazy that it's always that final day that gets him, and he finally didn't get snake bitten this week.
We'll talk more about the guys who did get snake bit in just a little bit, but moving on to our next shout out, dude, Garrick Higo, maybe one of the toughest stories and it shows how challenging golf is. 3 years ago, Garrick Higo won on the PGA Tour. He won at Congaree, and he was one of the top golfers in the world. He was upwards of top 30 in the world at one point, and has legitimately fallen off the cliff. For 3 years, you did not hear a word from Garrick Higo, to the point that he shows up to Punta Cana this week with not a single sponsor. He's wearing a unthemed polo shirt. I don't even know what brand it was. It had no logos, no nothing. He just showed up to the golf course in a Boston Red Sox flat cap and won on the final hole from a bogey by Joel Damon. A crazy turnaround for now a 2-time PGA Tour winner who's going to get another 2 years. This was a career year for him. He needed to get a win, or else he was going to lose his PGA Tour card if he didn't finish top 100. He has not finished at a very good spot so far this year, and this win, it goes to show you the value of opposite field events to be able to play against some still really good competition, right? He still played against Keith Mitchell and Joel Damon, Mackenzie Hughes, and the like. And so to be able to get to where he is now is a huge upgrade for Higo, and he gets his 2-year exemption. He gets a spot in the Masters next year. He's going to play in some majors now. Really big moves from Garrick Higo. He was asked afterwards, if you look at his haircut now versus then, he's got the wild hair. He wants to keep the Red Sox hat going, but he might get a sponsor by next week. So we'll see if he gets to keep it on.
Garrick, number 1, come on the pod. Number 2, can we get the Get in the Hole logo on a polo for you?
What I would do to have him wear an Underground Sports Philadelphia hat, the 47 branded Underground Sports Philadelphia hat, smother it on him.
Hell, we'll even ruffle some feathers, Steve. We'll do the unthinkable. We'll spell out Underground arched upside down.
Wait, can we actually make these?
On one condition.
What, he pees in Ray's Creek next year?
Yeah. We got to test the curse.
No. He has to shit in the creek.
Damn it! Shout out to Netflix.
It's the only other way. Also, by the way, I had the epiphany the other day that we're going to be watching all of what happened 2 weeks ago on Full Swing next year, and we're going to get the Ballester moment too, which makes it even better. Holy shit!
It's gonna be wild.
So it's not necessarily a shout out; it's more a I feel horrible for you, so I'm giving you your flowers. Joel Damon and Andrew Novak, two incredibly talented players. Of course, Joel Damon, a fan favorite post Full Swing. You might not really know who Andrew Novak is. He's 30 years old. He played at Wofford.
Shout out Brittany.
Shout out Jake. Big dips.
I think that's how I know Andrew Novak is because of Brittany and Jake.
Yeah, and Jake Dipple's new book is out. Sincerely Hank. Go check that out.
Oh yeah,
on Amazon. Stories from his dog to his owner. Honestly, seems like a great book concept. By the way,
I can't wait to write my book.
Your tell-all, your memoir. Andrew Novak, 30 years old, went to Wofford, has had a great year. This is his third top 5 and his second in as many weeks. He finished third at the Valero a couple of weeks ago. He was not in the Masters field, but it's a tough way to lose to a great player like JT in a playoff on the first playoff hole. But like Joel Damon, dude, oh my God. Dan Rappaport was doing his live show and covering both at the same time. And I'm watching a little bit of it, and like watching Joel Damon go bogey, bogey, bogey finish and lost the tournament legitimately brought me to the edge of my seat and like on the edge of tears. I was like, oh my God, this guy who's fought so hard came up so short, and he deserved it more than anybody else. It's actually kind of crazy. Garrick Hiko's 2 wins on the PGA Tour both resulted in the 54-hole leader finishing his final round 4 over par and finishing with back-to-back-to-back bogeys. It was Tristan Hadley 3 years ago at Congaree. And also, this go-around, it was a 5-way tie for second. The first time around, it was a 6-way tie for second that ended up with Garrick Hiko winning. So, like, I feel terrible for Joel Damon. He had the 54-hole lead. He had a 3-stroke lead. He said afterwards he was a bit in shock at what happened. He said he didn't deserve to win it. I mean, he's very brutally honest with himself, and whether or not he deserved to win it or not, I think is beside itself. I think he played a tremendous round of golf, and he just didn't work out at the very end. And it's they always say like the worst things happen to the best people, and like I love Joel Damon. I love what he stands for. I love what his comeback story and what he's battled through. And if you haven't seen that episode of Full Swing in season 1, like go watch it. His story is incredible, but to see him lose like that really is it's a gut wrenching feeling.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like
it's either Joel Damon is the unluckiest guy on earth or Garrick Hiko's the luckiest man in the world. Like it's like go buy a lottery ticket, bro. You're 6 bogeys away, actually really 2 bogeys away from having no PGA Tour wins. Like the ridiculous reality of that. Somebody who has actually had a really strong run and managed to get the win this week. Talk about all first team fridge, Neil Shipley. He said in his post-round interview after he won the Lakecom Suncoast Classic down in Sarasota, Florida, he won in a 5-hole playoff to get his first win on the Korn Ferry Tour. He said afterwards that apparently the diet's going to take a back seat for a little bit as he celebrates the big dub. Shout out to Neil Shipley for getting the win for the big fellas out there. The hair game is great. The big body is great. His teammates at Ohio State called him all first team fridge.
First team all fridge is
fucking amazing.
Hilarious. We need to make a graphic with that.
We also got maybe the best, like one of the funniest moments. Rappaport asked him, he had him on the show, and he said, he asked him, I don't know if you remember this moment when in Butler Cabin, when he was getting his low AM honors, they caught him like side-eyeing the camera. It turns out he was staring at the teleprompter because he was so scared to speak. Because it's him, it's Scotty, it's John Rahm, and then Ridley and Jim Nance. And he's like, I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm just gonna eye the prompter to see when it gets to my point, so I know when to speak. Otherwise, I'm gonna sit there silent. He was so scared. So he explained that we still don't have any confirmation though on what Tiger gave him and told him when they asked him, and he was like really awkward about it. But shout out to Neil Shipley for the W at down in Sarasota. Hopefully we see him on the PGA Tour soon, as he's now 2 wins away from getting his tour card officially.
I have one of my fun internet shout outs of the week.
Let's hear it.
So this comes from Jeff. Apologies if I mispronounce this. Zrebik. He is a senior staff writer for The Athletic, covers the Baltimore Ravens. He met with Kyle Hamilton today of Notre Dame lore. And he asked Hamilton what Marlon Humphrey has to do to get better at golf. Kyle Hamilton responded and said, "Talk to God." To which Marlon Humphrey quote tweeted said post and said, "Jeff, please tell me this is a fake quote. I do not deserve this slander, nor will I accept it."
We're going to see Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey in the boxing ring soon to settle this one.
And on top of that, Marlon Humphrey, come on the podcast if you want to spit game about golf. And then the Ravens apparently posted the video of it. And Marlon Humphrey posted, there was a quote that said, "One step closer to the tour, delete everything else he said."
You know what they say, if you're playing golf in a lightning storm, what's the one golf club that you should use?
Oh, I've heard this and I'm blanking.
You pull out a 1 iron because not even God can hit it.
Yeah.
The only person on earth who can actually hit that, who can actually use a 1 iron and make it work, I think, is John Daly, which makes it even funnier because he's the one guy who I would think would be golfing during a lightning storm, probably barefoot with a glass of tequila in his hand. I want to give another shout out to rangefinders. While it might be controversial to say this, rangefinders were used as a test run at the RBC Heritage to see how pace of play would be affected if you gave the opportunity to use those metrics of using a rangefinder. Scotty said, and I quote, "If it's not going to add as much of a time difference. I mean, look, you're already playing with only 70 guys, so like rounds are going to go faster naturally. Use them in a full field event. That way you can actually like test it really." He said the only way that you speed up pace of play is to go from 3 sums to 2 sums. And clearly that also means lowering field counts, as well as saying the distances from tee to green to walk are usually kind of extensive sometimes. Some courses are easier than others, and obviously you can't just change that per se, but those changes would actually make a much bigger difference in the overall changing a pace of play. I know Ben said it on the show before. Like, they don't want to enforce it because players don't want to be timed, and yet we have one group that's saying that, oh, like we need a shot clock, but the guys from TGL are now guys are saying they don't want it. Like, the whole back and forth. But Scotty did say that no guy on his couch is going to be like, oh wow, I get to watch only 4 hours and 20 minutes of golf, not 5 hours. But like, the MLB only really reduced their game times by 25 minutes to 30 minutes anyways. So like, it's kind of the same.
And I don't know if Citi Field has done the same thing, but with baseball as a whole, what I've noticed is since the pitch clock has come in, they've opened the stadiums up earlier.
Yeah.
I've just been preaching about that since the pitch clock came in, because baseball is the one sport where the stadiums are the ambiance and you get to take in a full experience. Good on them.
I think Citi Field opens up 90 minutes before first pitch. So
Citizens Bank Park this year, if it's a weekday game, it's 2 hours. And then if it's a Saturday or Sunday, the third base and left field gate open 2.5 hours before.
That I love.
Which is awesome.
I love that.
And only certain parts of the park are open at that point, but you can still go around and see a whole bunch of stuff, which is really cool. I do have another internet shout out.
Let's hear it.
So shout out to Kai Trump. I don't know if you saw this, Steve.
Future Sunday Red ambassador?
And potentially, if the golf thing doesn't work out, she might work for TMZ because she was at the UFC event that took place, and she did a vlog, and she caught the Cavender twins on her vlog throwing some serious shade at former boyfriend of whichever Cavender twin it was,
Carson
and
Beck?
Miami Hurricanes quarterback Carson Beck.
Yes.
So apparently in this video, Kai says, does he even have any friends? And then which Cavender was he dating?
I think it's
Because I know the
Hannah.
one just got engaged.
Yeah, to Jake Ferguson. I think it's Hannah, not Haley.
But she says, no, literally no one likes him. I didn't break up with him because he cheated. I broke up with him because of who he is.
Ooh.
And there's a whole thing where like she's saying that like they would just be out and like he would ask people if they want to take a picture with him.
You know,
And stuff
all right.
like that. And I was like, ooh, Kai Trump might be getting a job with TMZ before we know it.
Let me ask you this, right? Because I find this fascinating. Athletes work as hard to slide into girls' DMs than the average man does. Do you think it's weird when someone like Joe Burrow used to do it, but like if a guy who's like a pro athlete is like actively trying to like slide into DMs or like goes into someone's comments? Apparently, a friend of mine from work has a friend who she has been like actively chased by Cattell Marte. Yeah, I know, very strange, but like
I love Cattell Marte.
Like she's from the Arizona area and like post stories and stuff at like games, and he'll be like, "Hey, boo, like want to come to the dugout, to the clubhouse?" Like, bruh, like I find it weird that athletes work as hard as we do in order to get like women.
Hey, the game is the game, as that ever so famous video goes. It is what it is.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know, man. If you can throw a football 80 yards or you can knock somebody out in 0.2 seconds.
I also didn't realize Cattell Marte and I are the same age. I thought he was younger than me.
Yeah, I was actually surprised to find out he's a little on the older end too. At least in baseball years. Shout out birthday of the week. I want to give a shout out to Jim Jameson. Now, I've again gotten more into the who we're celebrating today instead of who are we celebrating over the week, and doing a deep dive. There's been a lot of really great birthdays today, but Jim Jameson stood out to me. He's a former OK State Cowboy, PGA Tour member who played most of his career throughout the 1970s. He only recorded one win in 1972 at the Western Open, but he did fight Gary Player for a shot at the 72 PGA Championship at Oakland Hills. He fell by 2 strokes overall. He became the head club pro at the Greenbrier in West Virginia after his retirement due to a medical situation with a hand injury. That position formerly had been held by the great Sam Snead. He also chaired the 1979 Ryder Cup and led teachings at the renowned course until his retirement. He passed away December 5th, 2018 at the age of 75. So he would have been 82 today. So happy birthday to Jim Jameson, our birthday shout out of the week.
Check the private chat. Don't mention it on the pod because I don't know if it's a can of worms we want to open on this show, but
So Augusta National Golf Club, they are cracking down on resellers after a alleged leak that came out this week or last week that a absurdly high number of golf tickets for the Masters were sold on a resale market or by hospitality groups that shouldn't have been. Hundreds, they were reported, according to Front Office Sports, of patrons were pulled aside and questioned as to the origination of their tickets. This now begs the question: should the Augusta National Golf Club officially move to creating a reselling market for tickets, or should they have people show their IDs at the gate with their tickets?
So I've allegedly seen that apparently next year they are going to have a marketplace. I don't know how accurate that is, but I saw it from multiple people throughout this past Masters weekend that things just got like absurdly out of hand with tickets. And like, I don't know if you saw the viral story where like someone created a fake Facebook account for some guy and was saying that he was selling Masters tickets. So then that the actual guy's Masters tickets got revoked and declined. Like,
my God,
crazy story. Like, I saw it go viral like right before the Masters started. But I think like Ravel and maybe Pompliano tweeted about it, that like apparently the Masters is going to be announcing that they're going to have a ticket like partnership or market of their own of some sort, because things have just gotten so insane. Like, I think Pompliano or Ravel, one of them tweeted, somebody posted like a weekend pass on StubHub or something, and after fees and everything, that it worked out to like 2 tickets being like $50,000.
Yeah, it's insane. I think personally, and I've heard the rumor that they might go to they might partner with an online marketplace or whatnot. I think that the allure of the Masters is the idea that it's so super exclusive, and right, like they talk about like what's the allure of the Masters, and every year it's like you can only buy the merch there. So if you have the chance to go, you can go. And like the age-old question, like is it stolen valor that you wear Augusta National gear or just Masters apparel, because the actual Augusta National golf gear you can't even get. Is it stolen valor to wear Masters gear if you've never been to the Masters? And I think it's a really interesting point of the whole allure of Augusta National and the Masters is that you only can go if you get a ticket. And they should make it so that the lottery still exists, but if you get 4 tickets, right, you need to declare who the 4 people are, and you get a specialized ticket with your name that is only you, and you need to show an ID. It's the same thing as like getting into an airport.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me like just the same way they can file 100 people onto an airline in 20 minutes, that you can't do the same thing with a scanner that verifies? I think like that's what makes Augusta amazing and exclusive. And I think just making it so that people can spend however much money. First of all, that also just means the common man's never going to be able to go. We argued this with the Ryder Cup, right? It's $750 for a game for a 1-day pass in Bethpage. Like I can go stand on Quaker Meeting House Road in the middle of Bethpage and look through the fence, or I could pay $750 to walk around the grounds for a day. Like that to me is obscene, and it takes away from the actual golf fan who wants to be there. It makes it corporate.
Hear me out. Who won the Masters this year, Steve?
Rory McIlroy.
Who recently invested in what I believe to be, and I believe you believe to be, no free ads, the best ticketing marketplace on the internet?
Do I say Rory Daniel McIlroy?
That would be correct, because Rory and his venture capital group last summer invested in TickPick. $250 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Imagine TickPick.
Who's to say
official
TickPick
seller
becomes like that marketplace? Because especially now that Rory won, and like he has a connection now directly to having a green jacket and like the allure of that. There's the direct connection there. It just popped in my head now, like thinking about it. Rory and his VC invested a metric boat ton of money into TickPick. Good for them. Who's to say that like they don't try to potentially parlay that into being like, hey, there's rumors that you're trying to be a ticketing, you want to have like a ticketing marketplace for this. Let's work something out.
I mean, it would most certainly make sense. And also like the technology of it, right? Like Rory's invested in Tomorrow Sports. You can get involved in that. You can find a whole way of technologically driving
and
the
Masters. TickPick has no fees.
I think we need to knock on the metaphorical door of TickPick and try and get in before this partnership gets announced.
I mean,
we got to find a way.
We've been out. They do follow us on social, so
TickPick. Let's get on the phone.
I genuinely have said this for a long time now, both on and off pod. I would do anything to make TickPick the official ticketing partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia.
That would just be elite. I already get most of my tickets from TickPick anyway, so it would totally make sense.
The only time I'm not doing it is if it's like some like freak thing where like they're not available there yet, or it's like some exclusive thing. Any other time, I am using TickPick to get tickets. No free ads, but legit.
We're a walking ad read right now. So there you go. No, I think it's possible. I would love to see it happen. But again, like I would love to see TickPick get involved. But again, at the same time, I think the struggle is that it makes it too corporate, and the reseller market is just going to be so high. Like even now, right, for like a U.S. Open ticket, and it's the same thing that happened with the U.S. Open in tennis, right? You used to be able to go to Queens for like $70 for a round. Now it's like it's people wear U.S. Open hats. It's like a fashion statement. It's a status symbol. It's like wearing a Louis Vuitton bag. Like it's crazy. The U.S. Open logo on a hat means so much now. The Masters logo means so much on a shirt or a hat or whatever it is. I think it ruins the allure of Augusta, knowing that like, hey, like the lottery exists because people want the demand is there. They create their own supply and demand by having a lottery and only being able to buy merch there and making it that you could only get on the grounds for very specific things. And that, I think, would take away from the overall allure of Augusta National if you were to get rid of that. So the prediction came true, KB. We said it on the show, and we said it 3 weeks ago. Somebody, amongst everybody else, had opportunity to get suspended by the PGA Tour with these levied threats with the Creator Classic. And two guys in particular stood out, and I asked you on this show, I said, hey, is there any chance the Bryan brothers get suspended? Well, I come to find out that George Bryan is not really a PGA Tour pro anymore. He's kind of moved on from that. He's focused on content. Wesley actually said recently that he has focused more on his content because that's really the main channel, and he knows he could play with the best, but he would rather put it towards his content with his brother rather than if he gets into an event, great. Well, he was supposed to play this week in Punta Cana, and he showed up to the golf course only to be told that he couldn't play, and he was suspended by the PGA Tour. It has officially happened because he took part in the LIV Creator Series. Now, I put a TikTok out about this. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out because it's a fascinating story. Within a 24-hour period, we get Wesley Bryan, who gets suspended by the PGA Tour. We have Grant Horvat, who, might I add, was the only person to air the LIV Duels event on his YouTube channel. And he gets invited to a PGA Tour event. Now, yes, you can go on and tell me that Wesley Bryan is a card-carrying member of the PGA Tour. Grant Horvat's not. I frankly don't give a fuck. The way I see it, it's two full-time content creators, one of which plays on the PGA Tour but doesn't have a full-time investment into it. By the way, he's a independent contractor in the eyes of the tour. So go ahead, you can independently contract with whoever you want. I know people who work at some companies and they consult for rival companies. Do your thing. It's how you got to work. I know people who are writers for Sports Illustrated and The Athletic. It's two different companies, but they do it because people need a byline. I don't fucking care whether you're a content creator for LIVGolf, for the PGA Tour, for whatever. Wesley Bryan didn't deserve to get suspended. And it's almost a bigger travesty, the fact that Grant Horvat got over 1 million views and beat out the PGA Tour at their own game for the entertainment of LIVGolf, that he gets a possible sponsor exemption to an alternate side event, which we talk about on the show all the time, is only taking away a spot from someone who really deserves it and should be and wants to be a full-time member of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I was watching you kind of go back and forth in the comments with people on TikTok, which was excellent job by you. I love the argument too that nobody they are independent contractors. It's not like the NFL where like you're under contract with a team that is owned by the league. You know, obviously there's owners and everything, but it's under the shield, quote unquote. Yeah. But it's so totally different. And the comparison that you brought up too, like there's people that write for Sports Illustrated, they write for The Athletic. There's people that do podcasts for the Locked On Network, and then they do podcasts for, the All City Network. Like there's ways to go about it, and it is such a slap in the face, just gross negligence by the PGA Tour to have one set of standards here, another set of standards here, when you're still at the same time attempting to merge with LIVGolf.
Yeah. Like
And
it clearly shows to me, sorry to cut you off.
no, go ahead.
It clearly shows to me that the PGA Tour still wants nothing to do with LIVGolf. And it's like, and I mean, look, we knew because LIVGolf signed an extension with Adelaide, they're going to continue to play, whether or not there's an agreement because the PIF and the Liv and the PGA Tour thing, PGA and PIF thing is its own separate entity. LIVGolf has nothing to do with it. At this point, it's just the Saudi investment fund wants to put money into different baskets. They'll put some money into LIV. They'll put some money into the PGA. This clearly shows me that there is no chance at a reunification. It will never happen because the PGA Tour is still out and saying we don't want Bryson and Brooks and DJ back on tour. And now there are guys who are going through the process. Like I know was it James Pio, former US Am champion. He was at a Monday qualifier for a PGA Tour event or for a Korn Ferry Tour event. Like he's working on that. Eugenio Chikara, after leaving LIVGolf, won recently on either a DP World Tour or a Korn Ferry Tour event. They had to qualify to get into. So like there have been examples of guys who leave LIV and rejoin the broader PGA Tour ranks and manage to succeed. Fine. But why is it that somebody who, while he does play in some events, is not fully committed to your sport and wants to do more content and wants to focus in on that? It's the same thing of like a college suspending a kid. Like I think like Oscar De La Haye is a great example, right? He had his YouTube channel, and he had to either get rid of the channel and play college sports pre-NIL or never play again. And he chose the content. And like, why isn't Grant Horvat getting disciplined, saying, "Hey, like the PGA Tour should be like, well, you went totally against us and our product to support LIVGolf, and you ran their whole thing on your channel." Like, why isn't Fat Perez getting a call? Why isn't Roger Steele getting a call, or anybody else involved in LIV duels? Who, first of all, the Creator Classic is one thing. You're playing as an individual under the PGA umbrella for an event. This is literally you pairing up with a LIV golfer, a defector of the PGA Tour, and doing that. I feel like that's an even bigger slap in the face. But no, they're only content creators. All right, well, so is Wesley Bryan. He's a conditional member of the PGA Tour. He's not even a full-on member. Like, it's ass backwards. It doesn't make sense to me. And everyone agrees with me in the golf media world. It's just the bozo commoners who want to go into TikTok threads and go, oh, like, how would your independent contractor company feel if you were doing it for somebody else? They wouldn't care because you're not tied to them unless you have a literal like a what's the word I'm looking for? Where like you leave a non-compete clause. Thank you, a non-compete. Thank you. Like I'm sure they don't have that, and if they did, I think Wesley Bryan would have a good enough mind to know, hey, I shouldn't be doing this because of that. If there was a non-compete, then that would mean Fat Perez and Grant Horvat and everybody else involved wouldn't be doing it. It would also mean someone like Garrett, right, who's also part of who's also in the good brand. He's now in the grass league. That's technically a competitor to an nth degree on the PGA Tour. It isn't sanctioned by the PGA Tour. So what's stopping him from getting suspended from the opportunity to take part in the Creator Classic or whatever else would happen there? I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's truly mind-numbingly stupid the way that the PGA Tour feels like they're always pushing forward, and then they do something like this to shoot themselves in the foot. And it's truly like the cut off your nose to spite your face.
It's once again just the gross incompetence that is Jay Monahan coming back to the forefront. And even if it isn't him, like situationally, you need to look at this and say, look, like this is bad for the peripheral. This is bad for the brand. And it all happens the same day that you put on your PGA Tour YouTube channel, oh, Wesley Bryan's incredible comeback in the 2017 RBC Heritage. Like, really, guys? And then to make matters worse, you have Wesley Bryan show up to the golf course in Punta Cana, and he's looking along as a fan. Like, I feel terrible for the guy. Now, granted, look, he's going to make plenty of money doing content, and at this point, he's going to give a big fuck you to the PGA Tour and make way more money doing content than he ever would playing in events. But once again, you're just losing the opportunity to get eyeballs on you because the Bryan brothers are arguably like the next best thing to what Bryson is for LIVGolf. Mm-hmm. People are engaged by Bryson, and you're going to hear it on the other side here. We have a great interview with Bill Hyndman coming up. Spoiler alert. But like he talks about how kids are engaged in golf because they want to watch Bryson DeChambeau. He has 2 kids at home who watch Bryson's break 50 videos, and they're enamored by golf because of it. You don't think like the Bryan bros do the same thing, and to be able to see them on the PGA Tour every now and again and be like, oh, hey, I watched them on YouTube. Like, while it may have not brought eyes to LIVGolf that Bryson's doing his thing, it's still another avenue to see, oh, you see a Crushers logo, you see the LIVGolf thing on his collar. It's free advertising. It's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you want the Bryan bros to be that for the PGA Tour? Clearly not in the eyes of whoever is in Monahan's circle. It's ridiculous.
It is almost like the PGA Tour, like, view creators, and I know they have the Creator Classic and everything, but it is almost very boys club with that too. Like you see who is in it, and that's no slight to them. Like, good on the people that compete in that. Like, they've done what they've had to do to get there.
And they deserve it. Yeah.
But like the way that the PGA Tour continues to go, and it's almost like, you know, we talk about it all the time with the Spieths and Keegan Bradley and everybody, where they try to keep it as this boys club, and anybody that's not in the boys club is looked down upon as like a lesser individual.
Yeah, it's like the total caste system of the PGA Tour. Mm-hmm. It's like you have your haves and your have-nots, your freaks and your geeks. It's like the fucking Breakfast Club.
Literally.
Just golf. We're gonna it's whatever it is. I hope this gets figured out, and I hope that Wesley's able to come back and gets what he deserves, because he's a great player. He's great for the brand, and he's going to bring more eyeballs or could bring more eyeballs to golf. But as a result here, this only gives him more of a reason to focus more of his career into content than anything else. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, an incredible interview. Bill Hyndman from the First Tee, Greater Philadelphia area, comes on the show. We'll talk with him all about his past, what got him into the game of golf, what First Tee is doing in the community, the impact of the upcoming Truist Championship, and of course, we get into a bunch of great stuff just about his past. He's former ex-military. We appreciate and love his service. What got him into golf? His grandfather is a long-time, big-time golfer. So a lot of great stuff coming up in an interview with Bill Hyndman. Don't go anywhere, folks. For KB, Ethan, I'm Steve-O. We'll be right back with a great interview. Damn it. Great podcasting.
All right, everybody, welcome into a very special portion of the Get in the Hole podcast here on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. Your traditional suspects, myself, Stephen McAvoy. Ethan's in the back doing what he does best, and we are joined this week by First Tee of Greater Philadelphia's own Bill Hyndman. Bill, welcome to the show. We're so thrilled to have you, as the Truist Championship is right on our heels. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Hey, great to be here. We're super excited for the Truist Championship.
Yeah, there's a lot of really awesome moving pieces. We've had Joey Chitwood on to chat a little bit about the ins and outs of what we're going to expect once we come there again. We're going to have him on again next week as well. So for the listeners, be sure to tune into that. But it's great to have you on. Great to get to know more about the First Tee as an organization at large, but also what you guys are doing in the greater Philadelphia area. I know when it comes to charitable works and corporations who are working to try and grow the game of golf. I mean, Scotty Scheffler talked about it just the other day before his round at the RBC Heritage. How do we grow the game? How do we get more people involved in something that I know the three of us all have a root in it? I know I've been playing since I was a little kid. You, of course, have a family background in the game of golf, which we'll get into. But it's just amazing to see the work the First Tee has done across the country, and now your efforts as well in working with Truist.
Yeah, thank you. We love to, I have a personal interest and mission to help grow the game of golf, but really to grow the game of golf with kids who would not normally play. So we have a lot of kids that come from the inner city of Philadelphia and Camden, and we love to create opportunities for kids of all privileges, but really those kids that would be least likely to play golf. And that's why we have free programs. And, those kids that learn the game of golf, develop life skills through the First Tee, their trajectory in life will be forever changed by like this great lifelong game. So it's a lot of fun. The Truist coming to Philadelphia is great for us. And, in partnership, with Truist and the PGA Tour, creating like immense opportunities for our students.
Again, I think, when we were at Media Day and just seeing the partnership kind of grow right there in front of us, with Truist and bringing this sport to, like you mentioned, people who may not be afforded the opportunity to play golf on a regular basis, I think is so important. I have a background in covering professional lacrosse and with the Premier Lacrosse League, and they come to Philadelphia every year and they're bringing, lacrosse sticks that is now, over the past 20 years been viewed as a privileged sport, and getting sticks in the hands of kids in the inner city that traditionally wouldn't be able to play. And I think golf is in such a similar situation as well, where there are kids who probably, get an opportunity to go play mini golf down the boardwalk every summer now and again, but don't really know the intricacies and kind of just the overall value of the traditional sport of golf. So I think being able to get golf clubs in these kids' hands is, like you mentioned, it's like a life-changing, opportunity for them, where they're now getting an opportunity to do something that, 5-10 years ago, they maybe never would have had an opportunity to do.
Yeah, agreed. We love to figure out ways that we can get kids from the local community to play golf. I really think it's the best way to grow the game of golf from a generation of golfers that would have been missed. And I think it's really breaking that paradigm of golf being that really true elite sport. And that's why we work really hard at First Tee Greater Philadelphia to fundraise. We raise about $3 million a year. And we decided a couple of years ago to make our programming free. And that was really the best way in the world of expensive youth sports. What a better way to have a parent or a child have interest in our programs, to know that it doesn't cost anything. We've got thousands of donors that help make it possible, and also thousands of donors that help us with equipment. And, we run 2 golf courses in Philadelphia, John F. Byrne and Walnut Lane. Every day there's clubs that come in, and our kids get first pick of those clubs. We've got some partnerships with Callaway and other club manufacturers to provide clubs for the kids. But, I love, myself and our staff, every day we get up and we figure out, all right, how can we impact just one more kid?
I remember growing up. So for me in the game of golf, I started when I was probably just barely old enough to hold a club. I was playing with my grandpa constantly, and it taught me life lessons on discipline and patience, and the understanding of you're going to lose more than you win. So enjoy the wins while you get them. You obviously have a golf background. Your grandfather was a big time amateur back in the day. Your father played as well. You also have a military background as well. So you have a lot of different areas where you learned your own forms of discipline and patience. Walk us through how your background has shaped what you're doing now with First Tee, and how that's grown the overall corporation as well, to bring those life lessons into the homes of these children who may have not had an opportunity to do so prior.
Yeah, well, I've had a very circuitous path to get to where I am today, and I never thought that I'd end up in the golf industry. I went to University of Richmond. I played golf on the team there, but I got a ride in the back of a Black Hawk helicopter as a freshman, and I just knew I wanted to become a pilot. and spent 12 years in the military, in the Army, overseas, and here back home. And I finished up at Fort Bragg. I got injured. I ended up getting out. Worked at Comcast for about 8 years as a general manager. And then I worked in commercial landscaping and learned a lot about horticulture. And again, like, I think there's divine intervention. Things happen for a reason. And then after I got out of commercial landscaping, I started a veteran recruiting company. And one of the things that I encourage all the veterans to do was never turn down an interview, and you could always learn something. So I had, as a youth, I was involved with the Greater Philadelphia Scholastic Golf Association, and that's the predecessor of our current First Tee chapter. And that executive director, who was in charge when I was involved, when I was in high school, John McDonald, an unbelievable golf coach at Temple, asked me if I'd be his replacement. And I told John, I said, I don't think that would work. But I remember what I told my veterans, said, you cannot turn down an interview. So I went in to interview with the First Tee to be the executive director. And I realized that it would be an incredible job where I could exponentially help thousands of kids get the same opportunities that I had been afforded. And I was just very lucky. And I thought, you know what, this could be of all the jobs that I had, and I had a lot of satisfaction with everything I did. I knew that this would give me the greatest satisfaction, be able to repay the favor, the great favor that I had been afforded, and really learning all the values through the game of golf, through my grandfather, through my dad, who were my mentors, and the 9 core values that the First Tee instills and teaches: honesty, respect, sportsmanship, judgment, perseverance. All of those things that I learned, I could help other kids learn, and again, bring the game of golf to kids that would never be afforded that opportunity. So it turned out to be an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. And I've been involved for 10 years. I love going to work every day. I love impacting kids. I also love running 2 municipal golf courses. I see every day people that come to our golf courses that we've made very, nice condition courses and of value. And, people just love to play golf, and that's their happy time. That's for them the best part of the week. And I really love to help create joy for them, and our team loves to do that for the public golfer. Today at one of the courses, unbelievable. On Easter Monday, we had 265 golfers. It was just an incredible, amount of play. And, we love just allowing the public golfer to have a great experience. And also our First Tee kids play for free. Today was a non-school day for most of those kids. I love seeing those kids at the golf course.
Bill, for you, with just the amount of, different opportunities you have had, throughout your life and your career, that you've traveled through, what about working with kids has been something that's been like eye-opening to you and kind of like rewarding in a sense that you would have never expected?
I think the kids set such a great example. They inspire me to be a better person. I'm so impressed with these kids with their interpersonal skills, how they interact with adults, how they interact with competitors. They inspire me to be a better person. What we teach them, they exemplify that. And when I see that, I said, wow, I should be better. So I just love how the kids, really seamlessly learn these life skills. And we've got such a unbelievable team of coaches and our program staff, that seamlessly teaches life skills to kids, in a really fun way, and a way that allows the kids to play enough golf so they all get the golf bug, and then we can retain those kids, because that's something that we are really focused on, that we want kids to, participate as a teenager. And there are a lot of activities, a lot of, there's just, kids are overscheduled nowadays. And the more that we can get those kids in love with the game of golf, even if they're playing other sports and have other activities, the more likely they are to complete our program through high school. And then there's a 100% chance they're going to graduate from high school.
What's the one thing, as you grew up around the game and you struggled with. I know I struggle with my discipline skills sometimes, that every single day you try and instill in every single kid, that one ultimate thing, if you could take away from golf, what is it?
I think it's to have fun. I think just don't take things too seriously. Try your best, but really enjoy the game. Just don't get distraught, because there's, as you alluded to with your grandfather, I mean, there's ups and downs. It's a hard game. You're going to lose a lot more than you're going to win in the individual battle of hitting good shots. So, and again, that's another thing I think I'm inspired by our kids. The sportsmanship that they demonstrate is really incredible. And they start to learn it when they're 5 years old, and it's, to root for your opponent, and, to be a good sport, and, to see that instilled in our kids will ensure that they're going to be successful off the golf course. And we're best preparing them for the challenges on the golf course, but really off the golf course in the many challenges that we all face in life.
When it comes to kind of build off of that, some of the off the golf course, like success stories, for lack of a better term, what are some things that you've seen with kids that have come through, First Tee, and kind of just the success stories, not only on the course, but some kids that have, really shined off the course as well?
There's so many. We have thousands of kids in our programs. We have a young man that came to us when he was about 8 years old, was very shy, not great interpersonal skills because of his shyness. He started working with one of my former golf pros, Jack Connolly. Jack helped him with his game. The First Tee started a high school scholarship. And actually, in this case, this private school, the Haverford School, started a scholarship for First Tee students. And this individual, Devin, was awarded a scholarship, made the golf team at Haverford with a lot of kids that are coming from affluent backgrounds. And Devin's coming from West Mount area. And one of our greatest success stories, and somebody that, we're most proud of, Devin's going to be going to MIT next year.
Good for him. Incredible.
And, we just want to create more Devins. My golf pro at Walnut Lane went to Central High School. I had taken him to a tournament in Florida when he was a senior. He was a 4-sport letter winner, baseball, basketball, football, and golf. He ended up playing football at Bloomsburg, and we ended up hiring him when he graduated from college. And I had stayed in touch with him, and we had, had lunch, a couple times a year, but he wanted a job. And, he's now our director of golf at Walnut Lane Golf Club. And so I said, Kyle, we want you to go find and make 100 more Kyle Spaldings, and hopefully he can do that every year. So yeah, there's so many success stories that we've had, just because the team we have of coaches are unbelievable mentors. As we know, the game of golf is such an incredible network. I'm really humbled every day of the number of people that want to give back to us to help make our work possible. But all those generous people, all the people that are involved in our organization, want to help open doors for kids, and a lot of kids that are less fortunate. And the doors that get opened are really amazing. And that's what I think is so incredible about golf. Most of my friends are all golfers, are all people that I met through playing golf. I'm sure that's similar to you guys. And as I see it unfolding for our kids, and a lot of our kids, have this network of friends, and they all go to different schools, but they all have this common bond with golf. And that's what, is one of the incredible things about the game, not to mention it's a lifelong game. So no matter what sport they play, if it's lacrosse, Kyle, they're eventually going to gravitate and only play golf, as they get older.
Yeah, the beauty of golf is that once you're like me and high school sports is your peak, you immediately jump right into the golf set come college. Talk a little more about, for those of you who don't for the listeners who don't know much about First Tee as a whole across the country, but also what you guys do in Philadelphia specifically, some of the numbers in terms of usual enrollment within First Tee, graduation rates, how you guys are working with other groups, some funding numbers, how much money has been generated for the organization and for students of the game, and what are you guys looking to achieve now with Truist coming in? I heard a media day, correct me if I'm wrong, there's now a long-term partnership, even though the tournament was only going to be here for a year. There's going to be a long-term effect that Truist and the championship as a whole will have for First Tee and the greater Philadelphia area.
Yeah, so First Tee is a youth development organization, and we teach kids life skills. And, it's pretty simple. We use the game of golf as the vehicle. Can you guys hear me? I didn't know if you froze up. Okay. So it's an incredible mission. And we want kids to learn life skills and to be set up for success in life, in how to deal with the challenges of life. And we just use golf as the vehicle. And it's an incredible vehicle because it's so captivating. And as I mentioned about, kids get the golf bug, then they're hooked, and then we can bring them back. And, we have programs for kids from 7 to 18, basically up through high school. The kids that stay in our programs, 100% stay in our programs, will graduate from high school. And then they all go on to take, 95 go on to take additional secondary education. We're one of the larger chapters of the First Tee Network. There's 155 chapters across the country and now internationally. Last year, we were rated the #1 chapter in the First Tee Network. But for us, that's great, but we're never satisfied. We never accept the status quo. There's 842,000 kids in our DMA, and we reach about 45,000 of them. We're in 105 schools. We have 26 locations across the greater Philadelphia area, and our territory is Philadelphia, Montgomery, Bucks, Delco, and Chester counties. And then on the Jersey side, Burlington, Gloucester County, Camden counties. And then when the Mike Trout National Golf Course opens up, we're going to be down in Cumberland County. Awesome. So it's a huge footprint. And we have locations that are public golf courses, driving ranges. We run programs at the PGA Tour Superstore in Plymouth Meeting, at the 3 Top Golf driving ranges, Northeast Philadelphia, Mount Laurel, King of Prussia, and then public golf courses and driving ranges. So no matter where you're located, there's a First Tee class that's close by. We're hyper focused on retention. We want to make sure that if a student comes to our program, we want to make sure they have a great experience so that we can retain them, because the kids that come to our classes on a weekly basis, and traditionally our classes are a 4-week session. So it's one session that lasts 4 weeks. They don't cost anything. We raise about $3 million a year to make this all possible. And again, I think it's to break the paradigm of the elite game of golf. What a better way than to, allow and to offer our programs free for students. And I think with students and parents that are coming from the inner city that might be apprehensive about golf, it's a pretty good invitation for us. On the Truist Championship, couldn't be more excited for this to come to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is so starved for a PGA tournament, and ticket sales have been great because I think people have been so starved for this. The Truist team has been unbelievable partners of the First Tee. We had a series of meetings, and Truist had said, well, they obviously were interested in what we do and wanted to give back to the community, and they wanted to make a difference. But they said, look, we just don't want to come in and write a check and be done. We want to figure out, how can we really help you? So we set up a program, and it's going to be a 5-year partnership with Truist, and we're going to grow it. So it's not going to be just 5 years, but they're going to help us with retention of our students, specifically our teenage students. So we have some initiatives with some golf tournaments they're going to be offering, with financial literacy through the Truist Leadership Institute. We're going to be involved with the Truist Championship. Many of our kids are going to be involved. So we're excited to have this partnership over a 5-year period. And Truist can be involved, and we'll have some of their employees be working with our kids and as coaches. And we just love to work with an organization that has an interest in helping us. And they'll find that they'll get as much out of it, a reward just for being able to help kids as our kids will get out of learning from them and from their expertise.
Yeah, and to kind of build upon that, I know you mentioned you have, partnerships with like the club manufacturers and things like that. How exciting is it when you guys are talking to them and them providing, equipment for these kids to be like, oh, we're going to be able to get, golf clubs in the hands of, so many X amount of kids and be able to be a part of kind of building that next generation. And like you said, kind of like tearing down that wall of like golf being this elite sport and getting, their product into the hands of so many kids.
Yeah, it was just the other day, some equipment showed up and our coaches didn't know what it was from. And I said, that was from the Truist equipment grant. And, our coaches are just flabbergasted that, whatever the need is, it's my job and my development team's job to find the resources that they need, so that we can fuel them so they can go out and teach the kids and really allow the magic to happen. And if we can tell the story, if we can tell those success stories, it's really not that hard for all the good people out in the local community to step forward and say, hey, I really like what you're doing. I believe in what you're doing. You're making the community a better place. And I want to help you continue your mission. So, I'm so respectful of the community and the amount of people that give back. And, it's so easy to get tainted when you listen to the news about the challenges in the world. But man, every day I come into work, I'm just so amazed at the good people that are out there that want to give back and repay the favor that they've received.
In terms of, now you've been doing this for a long time now, and you've seen exponential growth, not only in First Tee locally, but also nationally. And we see it, I feel like every time we go to a new PGA Tour stop, you're always hearing about the amazing First Tee organizations across the country and what they're doing to further advance the game and grow the community. But what are the goals for you now as you approach work, obviously about a quarter of the way into the year? What do you want to achieve with this 5-year plan with Truist? What do you want to see in 10 years, 15 years down the line, short term to long term, that's really going to push the game of golf to so many other communities, or even just things you want to see within the org that you want to grow further?
So we're laser focused on retention. We'd like to retain 75% of our students. And we do surveys every year to find out why kids might leave. And sometimes it's not anything that we do. It's just that kids are busy. Kids take on other responsibilities and obligations. So, we're just south of 50% with retention. But we are working on that really hard. Our coaches, are proactive with our students and asking them to come back. And again, we want the kids to come back to our classes year after year, because those are the kids that are going to have the most profound impact in their character. We're also working on our diversity numbers. I think First Tee is for kids of all privileges, but we've been working on the a socioeconomic tool that we have, so we can track participants by zip codes. And we weren't surprised to learn that the most financially challenged zip codes had the least amount of participation. Mm-hmm. And then it didn't take too much time to figure out that the reason they weren't participating was because they didn't have transportation to get to our program location. So we're in partnership with Comcast that provides some funding for a program that took a particular zip code, the 19121 zip code, where we had 2 participants. And last year we took that to over 370 participants. And that was by busing students from their schools to a First Tee location. And then we also provide them lunch. So there's a lot of things that we focus on, but those 2 are the ones that are most important to me.
And I think, I was thinking of this too, as we've been talking, with technology and the access to stuff like YouTube being available to a lot of like kids in this generation. How much do you think the culmination and just the ever so vast world of like the internet golf space, once these kids get into first tee and being able to just go on YouTube and find a lot of these like golf creators that can be in the palm of their hands to kind of just like be in touch with it and it be a form of entertainment for them as well?
Yeah, I think it's immense. I know, yeah, with I have 2 boys at home and they love golf, but they also play other sports. And I mean, they were captivated by watching Bryson DeChambeau's podcast and him trying to break 50. And, just, I think there is so much interest and because it's entertainment. And I think that those are great. I think segues and introductions for, this next generation of golfer to play. And it's not just, playing at a country club. I think that, there's just a lot of different forms of golf. And I think through social media, our kids are getting a lot of introductions to golf and then also different ways that you can enjoy golf. And it's not just playing 18 holes on a traditional course. We're building it, our Northeast Philadelphia course, John F. Byrne. We're going to build a 6-hole par 3 course, and the longest hole will be 65 yards. It's going to be primarily used for first tee students. But it's a great place for kids to be able to practice and learn and to not have to be intimidated and getting out on a regulation full 18-hole golf course.
What's been the one of those things that I find fascinating about the ability to bring golf to greater lengths? I mean, like you had said, the underprivileged communities and folks who don't necessarily have the chance to play early on. We're seeing a lot more of those golfers on the PGA Tour, on the Korn Ferry Tour, and in different facets, whether it be African American. We've been seeing a larger presence in the Indian populace. I mean, like, I've been watching Ashay Bhatia for the last 3 years, and I've been in awe. Now, to see other athletes like some of the children that are coming in through first tee, how encouraging is that for your students to be like, hey, I could be like this? I feel like that's kind of been the dichotomy of golf for a long time. Have you guys leaned into that to be able to be like, hey, like, this is possible for anybody?
Oh, I think so. I think that when students see those role models, they want to emulate those role models. So that helps. One of our initiatives is to have a coach population that matches our student population. So if we have Hispanic coaches or African American coaches, they're going to help us find more of those students that are similar to them. And I think that's been really successful for us. But every day I get up and I want to find one more student that's in that category, and one more student that's like the least likely to ever play golf. And then when you hear them speak, and they're much better speaking about the programs than I am. I love hearing the kids speak about their experience and how it makes a transformational difference. And the kids have no idea that there's kind of magic happening. But when you meet one of our students that's in high school, you'll know that there's something different about them. And there was, it just happens over time. And that's why we want to retain those kids. But, we can bring those kids in from, those neighborhoods that, didn't have transportation and we made it happen. It's really great to see. But I think, the diversity that we see on the PGA Tour has been great for the game of golf. It's been great for first tee.
And, you talked about earlier too with Philadelphia and like the area being starved for a PGA event. In your opinion, obviously being, from the area, what makes Philadelphia such a good golf town?
I think it's the golf courses. I mean, we have such unbelievable golf courses. You've got Marion, Aronimink, Pine Valley, Philadelphia Cricket Club, Wissahickon. And then there's unbelievable courses that people wouldn't even talk about, like, Gulf Mills or Huntington Valley or Manufacturers or Saucon Valley. Philadelphia's a sports town. Everybody loves sports, but, every one of those sports lovers, they love golf. So I think it's just this incredible combination. I know when we first met Joey Chitwood with the PGA Tour, I think they were just blown away at the hunger that the public had for this tournament coming to town. And I mean, there is unbelievable excitement. I know that they've done great with ticket sales. I was just out there on Friday at Philadelphia Cricket Club, and the venues are unbelievable. I think it's going to be a great experience for everybody that's coming out. The PGA Tour, Truist, and CDW has provided a lot of opportunities for our students, our staff, and our coaches, our students to come out with parents to attend the tournament. I know that any general admission ticket for an adult can bring in I think a child. So there's some great opportunities out there for students to attend the tournament. I know I had attended the 1974 U.S. Open at Winged Foot when my grandfather played. So I was 5 years old. I was on the shoulders of his caddy's father's back for the back nine on Sunday. I kind of remember it, but like as a 5-year-old, that made a lasting impression of being at an event like that. So, we have 50 kids that are going to be standard bearers for the tournament. So they're going to carry the individual scoreboard for the players per group. So there's about 70 players playing. Those students, those 50 students that get that experience, I know that will be a lifelong memory for them. So, I couldn't be more pleased. And in talking to them, they are just so jazzed for this experience, and they can't wait for the tournament to come.
It's great you bring up your grandpa. I mentioned earlier to you privately, I was digging into your past. And of course, when you see a numeral next to a name, you're like, oh, wow, this guy's got a extensive history on family. And I don't know if you know this actually about Joey, but I was talking to him, and I love these interviews because it becomes more of a personal interest story than it is just learning about golf. And I learned about how his grandfather was a stuntman, and he was one of the first Indy car drivers to wear a seatbelt. And we spent 25 minutes talking about that. Your grandfather has an extensive history in the golf world. The accolades are enormous. What are some of the things that you learned from him that has carried out into your career over all these years?
I think the greatest that I learned from my grandfather was the perseverance. He had a lot of hardship in life. He had, a lot of challenges, even in golf. He lost in the U.S. Amateur in 1955 to Harvey Ward 9-8 in the finals. And I think that was devastating for him, but he was really focused on winning a national championship, and he dedicated his life to that goal. And he had a lot of peaks and valleys, but a lot of valleys. He eventually did win a national championship at the age of 57. He won the U.S. Senior Amateur. And then 10 years later, he became the oldest person at the age of 67 to win a United States Golf Association event. And, it's a lifelong game of golf. So he was performing at a high level. That year when he won it at age 67, he went on to play at a U.S. Senior Open at age 72. So I think, it's great that, we can all play this game and perform at a high level if we focus and, set goals and work hard. So his work ethic was really unbelievable. But, he had a lot of personal challenges that he focused on, and those challenges ended up making him stronger. And a lot of times people, don't handle their challenges in the right way, and they try to cope with them. But when you take them face on, you grow from them, you become stronger. And I was able to see that with my grandfather.
And Bill, in your bio on First Tee's website, 12-year Army veteran, first portion of this, what kind of led you to the military, initially, and being in the military for 12 years, but also a Black Hawk helicopter pilot is something you don't typically stumble upon with your everyday member of the military. But one thing, thank you for your service, but what led you to the military initially, and then what kind of drew you into, helicopters and eventually becoming a Black Hawk helicopter pilot?
Well, it's complicated, but my dad was enlisted in the Army, and he so wanted me to join the military. My advisor, my freshman year at college at the University of Richmond, was in the ROTC department, and he talked me into taking his history class. And part of that history class, we got to fly away from campus. I had to get up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday, and I couldn't believe I had to get up that early, but they picked us up in Blackhawks, and sitting in the back of that Blackhawk, I'm like, wow, I want to fly one of these. But, the rest of the day we ended up doing rappelling out of towers, and we got qualified to do helicopter rappelling for Parents Weekend. My parents came back a month later. I did this helicopter rappelling, and, one thing led to another. I ended up, applying for an ROTC scholarship. So ended up paying for 3 years of school. And I was just focused on becoming a pilot. And, that was really a dream come true to be selected for aviation. And, I think that, and First Tee focuses on goals. And I was really focused on that goal. I wanted to have, the grades and the physical fitness to be able to become a pilot. And, what I learned at a young age, as a young 20-year-old, you learn leadership. A lot of the people that I was in charge of, other pilots, were older than me. So you kind of get thrown to the wolves, but you either sink or swim. And it ended up really providing an incredible base for me to do what I'm doing now. First Tee, Greater Philadelphia. In the summertime, we have over 150 employees at the 2 golf courses, the 26 program locations. We've got 65 coaches. And it's a super important mission. And first of which is to keep our kids safe, to make sure that none of our kids get hurt, that all of our kids go home in a safe environment. And, paramount in aviation is to make sure that, anybody I fly, that I'm keeping them safe. Any soldiers in my command, I had to make sure that they were able to go home to their families. And, most importantly, that, the military taught me about safety, so that, I can make sure that our staff embraces that mission, to keep our kids safe. And then, at the same time, make it a fun experience for them, so that they want to come back week after week, or actually day after day, so they can enjoy, the great game of golf and our First Tee program, so that they can, reach their fullest potential in life.
KB, I know you've been dying to ask your last question, so feel free to jump on that.
Yeah. Why the German Alps? Why, what stands out, and what makes the German Alps the place that you would choose as kind of the retirement spot to be for the rest of your life?
So I grew up skiing in the Poconos, and when one of the reasons I ended up going in the Army, I didn't know, I changed my major a couple times. I just wanted to do something exciting and to see the world. So I wanted to go to Germany. So I was able to get stationed in Germany, in Nuremberg, and it was about an hour and 20 minutes from the Alps. And they had an Armed Forces Rec Center down in Garmisch. And I'm telling you, it's just like heaven on earth. It's the most beautiful place in the world. I had some friends that we all played golf together. We all skied together, and we all, flew Blackhawks when I was stationed in Germany. We just had a reunion. And we talk about going to the Alps. And it was just, it's just heavenly.
The fellas golf outing, Blackhawk helicopters, skiing in the Alps, and golf sounds like the greatest trio of activities of all time.
And then to be able to embellish stories after a long time, the stories even got better. So that's how that works.
Last thing for me, it also mentions in your bio you're really into car restorations. If there's one dream car that you can get, mine's always been, for the longest time, I know that I will never own it until I am well beyond my years. I've always wanted a 1954 Chevy Bel Air, and it's the prettiest car I've ever seen. My grandpa used to have one when he was a kid. It was like one of his first cars that he got. Same thing in like a restoration to a degree. What's the one car that you would want to have in your inventory?
Easy. So it's a 63 Corvette split window coupe with a fuel injection. So my dad had some of those. He sold them all, years ago. My dad's not around, God rest his soul. But I'd love to. I love restoring old Corvettes, so I just have my feelers out. But I'm going to find one.
Hell yeah! I hope you do.
That's awesome. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, would love to have the opportunity to check out what you have restored. I'm not the biggest car buff. I'll say this because my 2018 Hyundai Tucson isn't quite doing it for me, and I'm trying to find my new ride. To say that I've been car shopping around has been an understatement. What I would do to be able to even change a dipstick would be the greatest achievement of my life. But Bill, thank you so much for coming on. We really do appreciate it. We love everything that you do for the greater Philadelphia community. We love the fact that we get to have you on and be able to chat more about just what First Tee is and to make an impact really in the community. One of the things that I learned from being able to now to cover golf more locally. Now I'm from New York. I'm not affiliated to Philadelphia in any way, but I've almost grown an affinity for this town because of the great people who are a part of it. And this goes far beyond me being a Mets fan and thinking that Phillies fans are all horrible. I've realized that the people in this town are incredible, and the organizations that make it great, like First Tee, really do make a lasting impact. So we appreciate your service. We appreciate everything that you do for the game of golf and for the local community. And we're getting really excited to see you come Truist tournament time next month.
Great. We'll see you guys there. Thanks so much, Steve, Kyle. Great to talk to you guys, and I hope we see you guys on the golf course.
Bill, real quick before we let you go, how can people reach out to First Tee, find you guys, any sort of website, social medias that you want to plug?
Yeah, so look us up on the website, firsttee.philadelphia.org. And they can register for classes. They can make a donation. And I think that's one of the best things about this tournament. We're going to end up with a lot of parents are going to find out about our program. So we really want to, impact more students and more kids in our program. So please take a look at our website.
Absolutely incredible. Once again, Bill Hyndman, CEO of Greater Philadelphia First Tee. Thank you so much for coming on, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Other side, our beer money picks for the week. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back in, folks. Getting the whole KB, Ethan, and your boy Steve-O here. An absolute awesome interview with such a great guy. Like, Bill is tremendous. He was excited to get on and chat with us. You can tell in his voice he's just passionate about what he does, and he loves to be able to impact the lives of his children. I mean, look, for somebody who has dedicated his life to working in fields that require discipline and patience and understanding, like grew up in a golf household, went on to be a former militant, running regiments, and now to be here and growing the next generation of golfer. It's really incredible to see. And honestly, like, you look at the diversity on tour, and while I mentioned it, I mean, truth be told, it still isn't great. When you look at particularly black golfers in the game, it's Tiger Woods, it's HV3, it's a few guys on the Korn Ferry Tour, but there isn't a whole lot of true, like, black golf. I mean, Tony Finau's Samoan and he's part African Americans. Like there are bits there, but it still isn't where we want it to be. And I hope, and I saw this with First Tee Detroit. They started to do that when they brought the Rocket Mortgage to Detroit. They wanted to bring the inner city there more into golf. It's great to see that the First Tee in Philadelphia is doing the same, and they're able to help these groups. And to hear his story about how he brought golf to those communities where he realized that, hey, like, we have low numbers because they can't even get here. That, to me, really shows your dedication to the craft. And I hope that if there's any way that we can help them out, further their mission, and support them, I would be more than happy to do so.
Also love that they're coming to Cumberland County, baby.
Hell yeah. The First Tee underground partnership is going to be it's going to feed families.
It's going to hit, like, as our good pal, not pal yet, but will be, John Rothstein says, it's going to hit like a nitroglycerin pill.
This is March, right? Awesome stuff.
But yeah, our interview too, Steve. Shout out to Devereux Golf. We love Devereux. I have my cart filled up because I will be wearing Devereux at the Truist.
I still got to do my shopping. The quarter one bonus hit, guys. I'm
Here we
getting me a
go.
new driver. I'm getting me some new clothes.
The clubs came in.
The clubs did come in. I finally went to the course today to try them out, and I will admit I'm still adjusting. We'll
Takes
get there.
time.
There's a few hits on the middle of the face. There's a lot more hits towards the toe, but we're figuring it out. We're getting there.
I was sifting through. Devereux's got some awesome polos on sale right now, and if you know me, I'm a sucker for a good sale. Steve, there's this polo on their website right now that is in my cart that I will be getting and will be wearing to the Truist. I don't know if it's fully appropriate or not, but I'm doing it. It's the big wave polo. There's literally a surfer catching a wave on this entire front of the polo. It is gorgeous. I will be wearing that no matter what. If it's not at the Truist, I'll be getting that because it's such a sick, unique polo. And that's what I love about Devereux. Their styles and their designs are so unique and just like it makes golf fun. And I think that's super important. And we talked about that with Bill. Golf is supposed to be fun. Breaking down that barrier of it being like this elitist sport, I think is important. And Devereux does that. If you look good, you feel good, you play good. I preach that all the time, no matter what sport it is. And Devereux does just that. Use our link in the description. And when you go to check out, after you fill your cart up, the gills up to the nines, use code WELCOME15 for 15% off your first purchase from our friends at Devereux. Again, use our link in the description, code WELCOME15 at checkout for 15% off your first order from Devereux.
That polo's fucking sick.
So cool, right? I'm going to feel like Johnny Tsunami.
Do you remember the second the second Johnny Tsunami when he goes like what's the boards in Hawaii, the mountains?
Oh, yeah, back on board.
Yeah, back on board.
It's like mountain what was this?
Like snow, like skateboarding, basically.
Yeah, it's like mountain boarding or something.
By the way, the bent grass polo also on sale. That thing looks sick.
And I also need the Stingers polo that has the scorpion on the back holding the golf flag in its tail.
Also, they have the Pain polo, which looks awesome. Like a lot of really cool styles that I'll be delving into. Oh god, Kay's gonna hate that I'm burning the wallet on more golf shit.
We gotta look good. We gotta dress to impress.
If you look good, you feel good. And at the end of the day, we're showing up to the Truist like we own the place, and I cannot wait for it. All right. Oh god, we have had so much great content, but we have so much more to get to as well. Ethan, it's your time to shine, my friend. We've got the top 10 this week, the Zurich Classic. We go down to TPC New Orleans, and we get TPC Louisiana in New Orleans. We get to experience some awesome team-style golf, and we have our top 10 team superlatives. I saw a really funny tweet. I forgot from who it was. Comparing the team of Wyndham Clark and Taylor Moore to the two guys most likely to see at the January 6th insurrection, which is horrible, but I thought was absolutely hilarious and the inspiration for our top 10. Ethan, high expectations from you after your incredible Masters run. Can you do it all over again with the Zurich? Let's talk about it.
All right, we'll try. So for my first one, so do you guys want me to just go down the list, or would you guys want to guess who it is first?
Ooh.
I'll say what the superlative is, and you guys guess what team.
KB, what do you think?
It might be hard, though, because, some of them...
I would need a team sheet in front of me, so I think it'd be easier to just go 10-1.
All right. So, in no specific order, most likely to have a passive-aggressive strategy meeting. I said Rory and Shane.
Like an old married couple.
Yeah.
Most Irish accents.
Most likely to send a golf ball into witness protection. I said Jesper Svensson and Nicholas Nogard.
Nikolai Horgard.
Yeah. Most likely to argue over who gets the front seat after winning. Nikolai and Rasmussen Hogard.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, the brother certainly fits.
my personal underdog of the tournament, Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin.
Love Novak.
Most likely to self-sabotage and fight their partner, Matt and Alex Fitzpatrick. Best will either win or end up in a documentary about golf tragedies award for Colin Morikawa and Kurt Kitayama.
Absolutely.
So close and just fall apart. Best, we're just happy to be here. Energy, JT Podston and Keith Mitchell.
Maybe the two most handsome guys too, like JT Poston with the Vineyard Vines sponsorship, and then Keith Mitchell is the only guy on earth who can appear in a GQ magazine run and look better as a model than as a golfer.
Most likely to have several strokes on course, Billy Horschel and Tom Hogue. Most likely to annoy other teams for being too chill, Sup Straka and Bruce Garnett.
Yep, I can see that.
Most likely to show up like they've been most likely to show up like they've been here for years. Nico Acavaria and Max Gracerman.
Max Gracerman, the two young bloods.
Yeah,
I love that. Very good. We gotta teach you up on some names though. We got Hoagie.
I know. I struggle with them.
We need every sports league to introduce I will die on this hill. Every sports league, sports team, whether it be high school, college, professional, there needs to be a database on that said website that not only has written out pronunciations, but before every season, before every year, you sit the players down, they say their name on camera so you hear how they want their name pronounced.
I agree. Like, I think that's the hardest thing when I commentate games here for Quinnipiac is like the opposing team sometimes. You have no clue how to say it. And that's hard because that's like low level mid-level Division I basketball. So it's like
and I also want to like say the name correctly for that.
Yeah, person. Exactly. Yeah, you want to get it right.
The worst part was when I used to do soccer and hockey games because everyone's Canadian and everyone's international. Oh my God. I had one guy, he was actually Indian and he played for, I think it was like Riders Soccer. And like his last name had to have been 13 syllables long. And I literally could not say it on the broadcast. I don't know if you've ever seen when Jalen Williams and Jalen Williams play for OKC, one of the guys calls one of them J Money and the other one J Dog because he refuses to refer to them as Jalen Williams, even though it's the same name spelled two different ways, or it's the first name. So I gave this kid a nickname, and I just called, and I was referring to that. And after the game, the programming manager goes, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's this guy." And he goes, "What? You give him a nickname?" I'm like, "Yeah, like 2 minutes on air." And I literally go, "I have no idea how to say his name, so I'm just gonna call him this." And he was like, "That's genius." I'm like, I'm like, this kid will never know that I just gave him a nickname. But if we make it onto ESPN top 10 plays and they give me my broadcast, that would be the funniest thing of all time. But so we had Hoagie, we had Echeverria, Bryce Garnett, we got Sepp Straka. You said there were a few, but don't worry, we'll work you off. Some great, awesome superlatives. Thank you, Ethan, for an awesome segment. The top 10 superlatives at the Zurich Classic. I'm actually really upset that like some of the teams that are playing this week, I mean, like obviously Rory and Shane are defending their title, but we had the California boys. It was Homa and Morikawa. That's no longer. Surprised Sahith Theegala is not in the field. I feel like he would enjoy it. Billy Horschel not playing with Sam Burns. They were a good tag team. The Florida Gator and the LSU Tiger. Surprised to also see. I want to see what they did it in the past, and they had a good PGA Tour article about it for like 3 years in a row. Every team comes out to a walk-up song, which also always brings me to like, what would your walk-up song be like in any situation? I mean, like I know we talked about our baseball walk-up songs back in the day, but
We've had this discussion yearly, and I feel like I'm always on this episode too when we talk
you,
about this, which is fun.
Yeah. This is one of the Keystone KB episodes
Yes.
of Getting the Hole every year.
There is a new song, Steve, that's entered like my brain, and I don't know how long it'll last, but it was at the end of episode 8 of Daredevil Born Again, and it is the most like I've been listening to it when I drive to go do my high school broadcast because I get in a zone listening to it. It is called Storm Cloud Rising, Let's Go Home by the like Florida Mass Choir.
Okay.
But it's like remixed in a way that like fits like MCU aesthetic. And if you see the scene, if you've watched the show, you know when it comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I just get so high. Like the beat and the bass and like the undertone of it is so goddamn good. And on top of that, the other song that I've added to my lexicon that I think is just long-standing, Nick Castellanos has been walking up to Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson.
That's great.
And it's incredible when that's playing.
That actually might be like one of that. First of all, it's probably one of the best underrated Michael Jackson songs. Ethan, you haven't been on the show for this, but when I was in college, we used to play intramural sports. I had my 4 years of development for my walk-up songs. My first year was "Brooklyn We Go Hard" by Jay-Z. That was a classic because I'm a Brooklyn boy at heart. Shout out to my grandparents, Williamsburg, Brooklyn. What up? And the Brooklyn Dodgers, gang gang. My sophomore year was, oh God, I need to remember this right. My sophomore year was Centerfold by the Jay Giles Band, and that changed a little bit going into junior year. I had another song that I'm drawing a blank on what it was. This season, watching the Mets, I mean, obviously, like Lindor's "My Girl" is so good. And I keep on thinking back to like I would love to have a song where everyone's like singing to. I think of like "Your Love" by The Outfield is a great one with Charlie Blackmon. A recent song that has entered the lexicon. I've really gotten into Hispanic music lately in my conquest in the gym. And Callaita by Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny
has been tremendous. I would also probably add "TV Off" by Kendrick.
Yeah.
The very beginning though. Like the beat drop is just tremendous.
All you ever wanted was a black Grand National.
Fuck being rational.
Give them what they asked for.
Bang! That right there would be it. It's not enough.
The Phillies organist plays that every game, like throughout the game, and it's so good.
After hearing Bryson Stott come out to
A-OK,
that like
so good.
Another one of those callback songs that I would love. Oh, I forgot. My junior year of high school, of college, was also "The Hills" by The Weeknd.
That's good. Max Kepler walks up to "White Bronco" by Action Bronson, and I just want to nickname him the White Bronco now.
I think it's Max Kranick. I think for the Mets, he's a rookie this year. He comes out to "Rolling in the Deep," and he's a reliever, so like it makes it even funnier when he comes up. And he's just like this song's blaring in the background while he's warming up.
Bryce Harper's been walking up. His second walk-up song is "Ain't No Mountain High Enough."
It's another good one.
It's very good, very fun. And then his last walk-up song in his rotation of 4 is "Ride With Me" by Nelly. But it's the part where it's like, "Hey, must be the money." I was like, that's the biggest flex Bryce Harper could ever do because so many people bashed on him for signing that contract.
And my senior year was shipping up to Boston because as an Irish American, how can you not? Also, "Return to the Mac" was another classic from back in the day. So
that's perfect for you. That should have always been your walk-up song.
The Jay Giles Band is just tremendous. Like how can you not get hyped for that shit?
That's good.
It got everyone dancing. All right. Let's get into the beer money as we wrap up a tremendous show. And of course, how can we not talk about beer money without mentioning that I'm fucking on fire right now? And it's all thanks to Kenwood Beer for sponsoring the best segment in all underground sports Philadelphia. I will die on the hill saying this is the best segment this entire show's history or the network's history has ever had. And I will introduce this to every single segment in this podcast land's world.
Podcast land is
Shout out to
amazing.
Judy.
Um,
And shout out to
yeah.
Kenwood Beer for being just fucking awesome.
They're the best.
The absolute best in the biz. You want a light beer that is refreshing, tasteful, and less calories than your standard Michelob Ultra? You got it right here with Kenwood Beer. Some say it's the best light beer they've ever had, and I'm telling you right now, guys, from just the originality that is Kenwood Beer and the locality of it, you cannot beat it. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Check out the Kenny Tracker. See where you can get your hands on the ever-expanding brand of is Kenwood Beer from Maryland to Delaware, New Jersey and Philadelphia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and beyond. Hopefully in New York sooner rather than later. And of course, like I said, Kenny Tracker, kenwoodbeer.com. 21 years or older to consume. And if you're gambling with us, please gamble responsibly and don't do it illegally like I did with the betting odds for the papacy. I did it on Bovada, actually. It wasn't illegal, but like it felt weird doing it on an offshore sports book. Top 20 pick this week at the Zurich Classic. KB, who do you like? What
The
team?
Zurich. Let's see. Top 20.
Can I go 3 straight weeks with a winner? Let's say.
I'm a little torn here, but I don't hate this. Give me the Hogards. Let them wield Mjolnir here at plus 115. Rasmus and Nikolai.
My friend was texting me in the group chat, and he goes, "Bro, that first Friday beer after work hits my hand like Mjolnir."
That is an iconic Trill Withers tweet, and it gets quote tweeted onto my timeline every week. And the memes that get quote tweeted with that are the funniest shit ever. Trill is 1 in a million.
I think it's just absolutely perfect. Top 20 for me. Where do we go from here? It's a very short team list. I'm realizing for the Zurich, which is unfortunate. Hold on, let me pull up the odds board for this. Great podcasting from Steve-O right now. I'm just on fire. I feel like there are less teams taking part in the Zurich than there usually are. Right?
It does feel that way.
It does indeed. And for some reason, they just don't have the odds board. Here it is. Thank God. Oh, never mind. There are a lot more teams. It's just they just didn't want to show the odds board on the setup. All right. So top 20 this week. Let's find the odds board down here. Perfect. All right. I'm putting the eggs in the basket here. We're going to go with, after a really strong week, and this is completely on vibes alone and nothing else related to why I think it is possible. Joel Damon and Harry Higgs. Give it to me. They are at a strong plus 230 for a top 20. Actually, Eric Van Rooyen and Bezaden, who look really good too. You might hear them later on in the show. Top 10.
Top 10. I am going to rock with you know what? Give me the dogs. Andrew Novak, Ben Griffin, plus 230.
Ooh. Okay. Let's see who I like here. Top 10. Nice knowing that you can see some good plus money numbers on some pretty high up names on this list. I'm gonna go with the Fighting Canadians, Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin, at plus 140. That's just some pretty good odds there. Top 5.
Top 5 from yours truly. We are going to I will say this is not my official pick, but for anybody out there looking for like good value, I think if you can get Shane Lowry and Rory is almost a pick 'em at minus 105 as a top 5. Obviously, you would also like them to win there, so you would take both. But at minus 105, that's pretty solid value for an overwhelming favorite. Where the next group up is Kitayama and Morikawa at plus 260. But my top 5, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Steve. Plus 500. Aaron Rai, Sahith Theegala.
Dude, I'm on the exact same line as you, dude. That's my boys right there.
Are we Rai guys?
Aaron Rai had a great run at the Masters in that first run. I'm not even going to acknowledge that you said that. By the way, my top 10 was with Taylor and Hadwin. Actually, the odds are plus 330. I was looking at their top 20, so even better value there. Yeah, no, Rai guy.
We could go from Ricky boys to also being Rai guys.
I love this play here. Theegala has not played inspiring golf at all this year, but at the same time, Aaron Rai's had a really good run of things. The nice thing is that it is a 4-ball, so both will be playing, but they're going to be playing best ball. So I think that overall, I would take Aaron Rai and Theegala late, depending on how things go overall. I think it's a good play. Rai's been on a good run. If I look somewhere else, there are some other names that are interesting, but I think overall it's challenging to go against the odds here, where there are other teams that are clearly led by one guy or the other. So I'm impartial here. Your gimme pick this week.
My gimme pick. Let's see here. Give me a Billy Ho Tom Hoagie plus 110 for the Philly Hoagie mouth boys out there.
Top 10 you said?
Top 20.
Top 20.
Top 20 at plus 110.
I'm going to go top 10 finish for JT Poston and Keith Mitchell. If I can get them at plus 190, that's a home run. I actually also, if you want to parlay this and you want to get a little sexy, 2 top 10 finishes. It's 7.5 to 1 odds. So 10 pays out about 84. Poston, Mitchell, and then Dietrich and McIntyre for top 10s, I think is a safe play. And then if you really want to get crazy, throw in a top 20 up on the board for Kitayama and Colin at minus 190. And then all of a sudden you've got a bunch of 190s on the board up to about 11 and the 12 to 1. So I'm going to go with Poston and Mitchell there for top 10 as my safe pick. But if you want to parlay together, I also like Morikawa and Kitayama for top 20, as well as Dietrich and McIntyre for top 10. Your winner this week at the Zurich.
I think you'd be silly to not put money on plus 360 at Shane Lowry and Rory. Like, that's just good value for a winning bet there. But I also do like where did he go? There he is. Wyndham Clark Taylor Moore at plus 2,000.
You know, it's so it's funny. I actually have 2 straight wins at this event too. Believe it or not, or 2 in 3 years, I think. I took the 1 year it was Xander and Cantlay, and they had like a points share of like 33 strokes gained against the field, and it was like the next best team was like 21. The fact that you're kind of just like running into like the Trojan horse with Lowry and Rory, that they're playing such great golf, the two of them. And I know Shane didn't have a great finish at Augusta, but like it's Augusta National. What are you going to do? There's no way you can't take them, in which case I would be dumb to not take them. And also, anytime you can get the odds on favorite at plus money when the next guy up is that far off. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, like Scotty Scheffler's plus 300 at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Like, yeah, but like there's still guys somewhere else that you can look at. This is just a no-brainer layup pick. So
yeah.
I
like both of those. Like, if you want to go against the grain, I like Taylor Moore and Wyndham Clark. But obviously, like we said, like plus 360 for the odds-on favorite is wild.
If I'm totally inclined to give you a a wild pick that like is an undervalued play, I would go with Straka and Garnett too. That would be another. I think they're like 33-1, which is crazy money odds. That would be the other play that I would make in this instance for you. That's gonna do it. Great show. Another tremendous show in the books here on Getting the Hole. As it's 9:50 right now, Castellanos has not hit his home run yet.
Game's over.
Fuck. Did Castellanos hit a home run?
No, Bryson Stott did. Bryson Stott did and blue balled the hell out of me just now.
Is Bryson Stott the new Castellanos when all hell breaks loose?
Bryson Stott is just there to remind us that even in times where we don't have a pope currently, we're going to be A-OK.
Dude, Edwin Diaz fucking sucks.
I hope. I mean, I wish the best for the guy, but Jose Ruiz has to get sent down after giving up those runs. You can't throw a pitch fucking smack dab down the middle to fucking Francisco Lindor like that at 93 miles an hour. You fucking gabagool.
That man deserves a C right there on his chest.
I don't know how I feel about the baseball C thing. Like I don't know. We don't see it all that much.
There are very rare instances that I would allow it.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Judge is clearly the captain. Jason Varitek will always be the captain of the Red Sox, and there will be nobody else.
I'm surprised David Wright never had it for the Mets.
He was the unofficial. Like it was.
That's how Jimmy Rollins was for the Phillies.
Yeah, it's just like it's not like a Mets thing. Like it's a metaphorical. I mean, like Aaron Judge doesn't wear a C.
Yeah, it's true.
So like it's one of those things. Like David Wright is.
You also don't see like guys get named captain all that much on Major League Baseball teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least it's not like public.
Like the only guy that I've ever seen like wear the C is Varitek.
Like,
and I think deserve.
The Phillies, you have a sense of who the captain is because when Jimmy Rollins was on the team, he'd be the last person to run out of the dugout when the team got announced. Nick Castellanos is right now the guy who runs last out of the dugout.
Is that because he plays the outfield though?
No, he like took over. It used to. I don't know if Harper ever ran out last, but over the last 3 years, I think Nick has been the guy who's run out last, which I think is cool because a lot of people like to rag on Nick for like his interviews and everything. And like, we have a great relationship with the Castellanos family overall, which is wild to say, but I think Nick is genuinely like the consummate leader on a baseball team that like he doesn't get enough credit for how valuable he is in that locker room.
Now, you're obviously a lacrosse guy. My roots bring me to a big time lacrosse school, and while I'm not necessarily like a lacrosse guy, I think one of the really cool things, and you can't do this in pro sports because like guys are ritualistic about their numbers. But I'm sure you've heard of the story of James Reagan, the former militant, died in action. Went to Chaminade, wore the number 19, and like they have a memorial game for him. It's always Chaminade against Manhasset, which or Massapequa, where he's from, and like it's like an honor for one guy every year wears the number 19 for Chaminade. Like that's like the thing, and like he's the captain.
They do that at Millville with Mike Trout. So
they do that.
Number one isn't retired. Every captain wears number 1.
Like they do it in soccer for some teams. Like one guy wears like number 10 or whatever it is. I think that's really special. To be able to say like, hey, like you're R19, like you're going to be the captain of this team, and you're going to wear this number, and it's an honorary thing. I feel like it's very challenging to do that in pro sports, because like obviously like Jeter will always be 2. He would never change his number for that. So like David Wright's always 5, Ortiz is always 34. Like the guys by their numbers, and it's historic in that sense. I love to see it that way, but I don't think it will happen. But would always be cool to see that. Anywho, we are digressing into uncharted waters here on the show. That's going to do it all for us here. Episode 201 of the Getting the Hole podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on all of our social media platforms at Getting the Hole Pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and of course on Apple Podcasts and YouTube, Spotify. Leave those 5-star ratings, comment on our posts. Tell us what you want to see on our next episode. Underground Sports Philadelphia. Be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel and get all of your best and favorite underground sports content from golf to F1, lacrosse, streaming, and of course our local flagship, the Underground Sports flagship show. And
just got named to a new podcast chart too. Number 6 Pennsylvania sports podcast.
Hell yeah. Look at that, baby. Keep on thriving. I got to get updated numbers on our golf show, see where we lie. But I can tell you right now, we're killing it in the international charts. The people in Sweden and Iceland love us. And we love you guys back. And we love to Goldberg. So keep on channeling us with the Swedish content. I'm going to learn Swedish. I'm going to learn Swedish. I'm going to pick up EDM house music for the show. Folks, once again, 201 episodes down. It's been a great run so far to be able to get to where we are. By the way, I want to thank you for giving me those kind words on Twitter for our 200th episode. Absolute amazing stuff coming out of the ranks here.
Hey, man, it's all the truth. And I have told you from the beginning, I've seen the potential in us covering golf. You've been at the forefront of it, and the show wouldn't exist without you. So
thank you. Wouldn't exist without your leadership either. And of course, our boy Ethan giving us the best social content on Underground Sports. Not going to lie, that's just a fact. Once again, episode 201, Get in the Hole for KB. That's Ethan. I'm Steve McAvoy. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the golf. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GetInTheHolePod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at UndergroundPHI. We'll see you next time. And remember, get in the hole!